With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, oh, sorry. We were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Yes, Lord. Good morning, folks. This is Who Did You Boycott Today? I'm getting ready to start a new recording. The title of this recording will be Addressing Freeman Lies, Half-Truths, False History Narratives. Thank you for listening. This is Who Did You Boycott Today? I'm not going to delay getting started on this broadcast because I've been up pretty much all night, and I kind of dozed off while making my recordings, but for the most part I've been awake, and I'm getting ready to try to unpack these lies. Where was I at on my search? Hold on, I'm gonna have to mute for a second. Okay, I'm ready to get started. One way or another. As the title states, I am going to try to unpack and address Freeman's lies, half-truths, false history narratives. And I'm going to start by playing recordings and then unpacking it bit by bit, slowly but surely. So here we are. Let me get myself together. I got a couple of phones that I'm trying to hold on to and navigate here, but here we go. This is the first recording, and let me make sure I got it lined up right. Okay, so here we go. Get started, and I'll send it out as we go. All right, I want to cover a couple of things. Again, you folks welcome to come up if you want to come up. There's three areas I want to cover in this thesis, like in this theory, I guess. The first of all, let's be clear. I'm not trying to steal the thunder from the brothers from BTP. I give them full credit for digging up this status, and they dug this up. It belongs to all of us, but they dug this up and brought it back to life. No questions there. All right, so we just want to be clear about that. All right, then now we're going to go on to my thoughts. Now, the first area I want to talk about is legislation. Right, as most of us in this room know,
the term freedman is all over Reconstruction era legislation, right? And there's no way to get around that in the record, right? And that is extremely powerful, right? That's the first thing I want to cover, right? And that's pretty much it on that, right? But I'll kind of touch on it in my third point. The second point is,
Okay, we're gonna stop right there. With that is Actify Press. I'm not familiar with this brother, but I just wanted to state the person's voice that you are hearing at the start of this audio that I'm going to be playing throughout this room space. So as I listen to Actify make the statement that freedmen is listed throughout the Reconstruction era. So I shimmy on over to Google search box and I type in what freedmen legislature. And the search results that came back was the following. The very first one says, the Freedmen's Bureau bill provided legislative authorization for the Freedmen's Bureau, formerly known as the Bureau of Refugees, Freedmen and Abandoned Land, which was set up by the U.S. President Abraham Lincoln in 1865 as part of the United States Army. Now, that's what came back in the search on Google. Right below that, people also asked the following: what did freedmen do? So I clicked the down arrow and it says, the Freedmen Bureau provided assistance to tens of thousands of formerly enslaved people and improvised whites in the southern states, in the District of Columbus, in the years following the war. It helped free people establish schools, purchase land, locate family members, and legalize marriage. I guess that's part of that reconstruction that Actify Press was mentioning, that freedmen is all over. Okay, I just scroll down a little bit further, and it says, are freedmen citizens? Okay, let me click on that one, because I didn't click on that one earlier when I was doing my search last night. Today, however, only Cherokee nations recognize freedmen as full citizens. The Musqueam, Cherokee, and the Seminoles nations have since amended their constitution in the way that exclude freedmen, and the Chickasaw nations never enrolled freedmen into the tribe at all, despite treaty stipulations. Okay, the next question that I come across in my search results that came back, status. What did the Civil Rights Act give to freedmen? Okay, let's see what that says. I have not looked at these answers when I did my search last night. Freedmen would now be protected by existing employment laws. Contracts they sign would be legally binding, and when accused of a crime, they would be entitled to due process like other freeborn persons. Okay. I still have not heard the word freedman status in nothing that I have read so far. But I'm going to go to this one link that I the Freedmen's Bureau Act of 1865 and 1866. I believe that when I'm constantly hearing folks talk about freedman status and freedman this and freedman that this is what they are referencing. The Freedmen's Bureau Act of 1865 and 1866. So I click on it and it takes me to the Senate.gov website. Let me say that again. If you need this link, just DM me anytime you feel like it. And it's the United States Senate. And this is what's on this website page. It says the following. Freedmen's Bureau Act of 1865 and 1866. On March the 3rd, 1865, Congress passed an act to establish a bureau for the relief of freedmen and refugees to provide food, shelter, clothing, medical service, and land to displaced Southerners, including newly freed African Americans. Newly freed African Americans. The Freedmen's Bureau was to operate during the present war of rebellion and for 1 year thereafter. Did you hear that clearly? The Freedmen's Bureau was supposed to operate at the start of March of 1865 and then 1 additional year. Once again, it has not stated in writing that this was a status that everyone is trying to pump out there. That's a lie. Is that a lie, or is that a half-truth, or is that a false history narrative? Which one do you think, which category do you think it falls in? Just by what I have just read, just the first few lines on the United States Senate website. Let me read it again. On March the 3rd, 1865, Congress passed an act to establish a bureau for the relief of freedmen and refugees to provide food, shelter, clothing, medical service, and land to displaced Southerners, including newly freed African Americans. The Freedmen's Bureau was to operate during the present war of rebellion and for 1 year thereafter. So it looks like it was supposed to operate for 1 year and then 1 additional year, total 2 years. Okay, reading along. Let's continue to read. Where did I leave off at? The battle to establish the Freedmen's Bureau and then to extend the legislation 1 year later was a major factor in the struggle between President Andrew Johnson and radical Republicans in Congress over the Reconstruction and the role of the federal government in integrating 4 million newly emancipated African Americans who into a political life of the nation. See, this is where folks like to conflate things. It's clearly stated on the Senate website that the Freedmen's Bureau was set up to assist these slaves that was recently freed, 4 million, around 4 million. They did not mention anything about freedmen persons at that time. And it seems to keep coming up now all of a sudden that now we have 450,000 free persons who were walking around as freemen. And then we had the 4 million who were enslaved. And so the freemen I'm really wanting to try to be as fair and honest as humanly possible because I do not want to offend anyone. Let's say that is the case, that those persons who dug up the information that there were 450,000 free persons at the time that emancipation took place, and that those were separate from the 4 million that were enslaved. So if you have paperwork, documentation that says that you were listed as a freeman at that time, but backing up one more time, every one of those 450,000 persons who folks like to identify as freemen, what was their ethnicity before they landed on the landmass America? What was their origin of ethnicity? What was their ethnicity before they put their feet on the landmass called America? They had an ethnicity before they stepped on the landmass called America. What was that ethnicity? It wasn't called freeman. They had an ethnicity bloodline before they landed on the landmass called America. What was it? That's the question that Freeman needs to answer, on top of us reading these first couple of lines on the website for the U.S. Senate, United States Senate, that clearly explains how Freeman came about. It was a act that was taken up by the Congress, and the act was called Freeman's Bureau. It was not called a ethnicity. It was not called a bloodline. It was not called a race of people on the face of God's green earth. No, it was not any of that. It was not called a status. Nowhere on this U.S. United States Senate website is they mention the word status one time as I read each of the paragraphs, because it's quite a few paragraphs here. So I'm going to continue to read a little bit more. Republican Congress over Reconstruction and the role of the federal government in integrating 4 million newly emancipated African Americans into the political life of the nation. In 1863, Representative T.D. Eliot of Massachusetts proposed a bill establishing a Bureau of Emancipated within the Department of the War to provide protection and support to newly freed African Americans. Freeman A's Society had been advocating for such an agency through memorial petitions and direct lobbying. The House spent 2 months debating the bill and finally passed it by a vote of 69 to 67 on March the 1st, 1864. The bill was then referred to the Senate Select Committee on Slavery and Freedom, chaired by Charles Sumner of Massachusetts. Next paragraph number 3, Senate debated on the bill focused on which executive departments should run the Bureau. Some senators objected to placing the Freedmen's Bureau in the Department of War, favoring the Department of Treasury instead, insisting that the well-being of freemen depended on their connection to the land. Should be handled by one authority. Senators who favored the War Department believed it had more experience than any other agency in addressing the needs of freemen and thought military power was necessary to protect former slaves. former slaves. They didn't mention they were concerned about protecting formerly free persons. But moving right along, we know we had a population of those who were slaves and those who had either brought a freedom or came to America already freed. That was the population at the time about how this Freedmen's Bureau came about. So folks can stop conflating, and stop conflating lies, half-truths, and false history narratives. Because any person who know how to type something into the Google search box, but if they can't find this link that I'm reading from, they can DM me, and I will send them this link personally so they can read it for themselves. They don't have to listen to Actify the Press paint his own narrative and understanding of what freedman means. They don't have to do that. Not one person have to believe myself or Actify the Press as to what Freedmen Bureau meant. It did not mean ethnicity. It did not mean a status. It did not mean a bloodline. It did not mean any of these conflated narratives that folks are talking about on Twitter. They're saying this stuff out their mouth, and they're constantly saying this, and like they want it to become true. If they say it enough times, maybe just by the grace of God, it will become true, and people will start believing it. So I'm not going to read any more of that. I'm going to play some more recordings instead, because I really want to unpack these folks' lies and have truths and false narratives. So I'm going to put the mute on while I move to the next audio recording, and then I'll start playing it.
A politically aware person as an adult, the Democratic Party has been hiding behind, you can't do anything just for black people that are messed up, yada, 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 which we can't do nothing just for black people.
Let me stop there, please. It's apparent that Freedman is trying to prop up Democrat as the boogeyman, because they have been called out and caught in all of their lies. So now they're trying to claim that it's the Democrats that's against them. No, it's just average persons walking around on two legs that have caught you and researched and found out about the lies that you've been preaching. So don't try to shift it over to Democrats. Don't try to bring them into the paradigm all of a sudden, because for the past couple of months, y'all ain't been concerned about how Freedmen felt, how Democrats felt about y'all painting y'all narrative. CJEC and Naheem and Mr. Ali and all, those were the three head honchos. Now you want to try to hide behind Camilla Moore and prop her up, because now you don't found out. See, now you don't found out that putting Naheem out there ahead of y'all talking points, that this man have a bad track record. He has a shady character, a very, very bad track record. He have a very, very bad shady character. So now the light bulb done went off in y'all heads, and y'all saying, "Wait a minute, we got to separate from Naheem. We need to put another spokesperson out there instead of him. So we're gonna replace Naheem with Camilla Moore. And we're going to, excuse me, we're going to shift our narrative to saying that the Democrats are the ones that are against the Freedmans, so that the people won't be mad at us and think that we've been lying. We want them to be angry at the Democrats since they already know they don't like the Democrats. That's a well-known thing now, that the Walking Dead Democrat is a bad taste in most person's mouth. So propping them up as a boogeyman, as a target, will go down easily for most folks. They'll latch on to that like sliced bread. Yeah, if we shine a light towards the Democrats as the reason why everyone is hating on Freeman, that folks will buy that real easy. You see how that works? They more buy that than us trying to change our image, us trying to change our stripes. So we got to come up with a plan that can help us reinvent ourselves, represent ourselves to the people. Because the image that we have now is a very, very negative image. It's a very, very lying image. It's a very, very half-truth image. Half-truths. That's an image that's stamped on Freedmen. And the other one is false narratives of the true history. That's stamped on Freeman too, by the way. But let's get back to the audio and listen to these folks sound off about how they have this perspective about Freeman and I want you to just jot down what come out of their mouth and then do your research and see how it aligns with what you heard coming out of certain people's mouth. Don't take my word for it. Write down what they say out their mouth or record it, and then go back and research it and see if you cannot determine for yourself if you have just heard coming out of a certain person's mouth some lies, some half-truths, and some false history. Do that for your own self, So here we go.
People got to do it for this person. You got to do it for everybody. You got to do it for minorities. Yada yada yada. That shit. The Friedman term kills that. It absolutely kills that art.
Oh yes, and and they really are off the cliff on this one. That you can't do anything for race based. See, I had a conversation with two persons in my notification, Miss Denise, and I think the other person's name was Arthur. Let me see. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but the two of us was exchanging messages in the notification, and I pointed out to Miss Denise that the argument of what Justice Thomas, because somebody in a room that I was in, whether it was Aons and Talent or John Allen, that brother named John Allen, I was either listening to him or Aon or Talent. I can't remember specifically which one of them pointed it out, and I heard it come out of their mouth. But I have not read what the Supreme Court members wrote. But I just listened. I just sat back and listened to what different persons were saying out their mouth of how they understood what each of the Supreme Court judges, whatever that thing that they put out once they come to their decision. I just listened to different persons explain it, how they understood it, how they analyzed it. And the one thing that stuck out the most to me, that out of everything that folks were saying, was that Justice Thomas said that descendants of slaves could bring a claim for a specific group. Freeman wasn't preaching that before, but now all of a sudden, when you hear them talking, they saying that specific group. They really saying that out their mouth a little bit more frequently. but they wasn't saying that before. I don't think it was being said before I had that conversation with Miss Denise and that other brother in my notifications, because I pointed that out and I directed them to go read New Negro Republic submission to the OMB. I said, once you finish reading that 8-page submission, you are going to understand that Justice Thomas threw a bone at us. He didn't spell it out in plain term, but if you got any type of brain cells in your head, if you go read that submission that Talent wrote up and submitted to the OMB, and then you go back and listen to what Justice Thomas said, you will fully be able to understand that Justice Thomas was, maybe he did it by accident, or maybe he just wanted to kind of throw a little bone out there to the descendants of slaves, even though the man is carrying a lot of scars from being picked on through his life. I think the man had a slight moment of conscience and wanted to do something decent, maybe. But I pointed that out to Miss Denise. I said the Pacific group that Justice Thomas is talking about is Negro slaves. He wasn't talking about no freeman persons. He wasn't talking about no Native Americans, but all of those groups are included in that Pacific group that experienced that harm. The Negroes who were slaves.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
The number of persons who were already free and the Native Americans who got lumped into the Negro population to a certain extent too. All those persons who were in America by 1865, and then the California Task Force said that this is the window of when you need to be eligible to qualify for reparations. If you have a family member that was in America by 1865 up to 1900, that's about 35 years, right? 35-year window. If anywhere in your family tree that you do a search of your family tree, that you can show proof that you had a family member here during that window of 35 years, you qualify for reparations. 35 years. Find one family member, either on a census report or some type of document that proves that that family member was in America between 1865 and 1900, whether they were listed as a slave person, a free person, a Native American, whatever their ethnicity was. If they got documented proof that they were here and they were not listed as a white person, then they suffered the harms that the Negro bloodline was being harmed, because that's what everybody's attention and focus was on. That's what the Southerners, that's why they went to war, because the Southern states wanted to hold on to their slaves. They wanted to hold on to those slaves more than taking their next breath. The Civil War wasn't about who was free at that time, who was identifying as Native American. No, the central focus was the Negro slaves. The Negro slaves. That's what was the central focus of this place that we call America, that went to war and broke up their precious union. It broke it apart. It didn't break apart because 450,000, so-called 450,000 folks were walking around on two legs as free persons, or whatever the population of Native Americans were. No, the Civil War was about those slave Negroes. So since we know that truth, Active 5 Press, y'all really sound foolish when y'all keep on repeating that the Supreme Court say you can't get anything passed on race-based. This whole country was built on race discrimination. You can't get around it. So please stop sounding like a foolish, unintelligent person. Please stop sounding that way, because it's beginning to just get bizarre. Just record yourself saying it, and maybe it'll stop you from saying it. Whenever you get the urge to say, Supreme Court says that we cannot get any policies passed race-based. Well, newsflash. Slavery was based on race-based, the color of skin of another human being. It was based on that. Nipcom brain, folks. It was based on that. It was based on the race of another human being. So do you not understand why you sound foolish when you keep on repeating that narrative that Supreme Court says that you can't get anything passed that's race-based? You sound foolish. I'm here to tell you, if nobody else will step forward and say it, I'm going to say it for all the folks who won't say it. Because I don't claim to be no intelligent person. I don't claim to be no Ivy League bookworm or nothing like that. I'm just a plain old common sense person. Common sense. I always knew that I was a slow learner. And I ain't never had a problem with it. I ain't never lacked any confidence in myself, and never shied away from the reality that I just learned at a different pace than most persons. My mother gave me that confidence. My mother helped me build that confidence in myself that I was a slow learner. And how was I gonna be able to overcome that and still be able to apply myself? She helped me to overcome that. And my common sense tells me when I hear folks who claim to be intelligent keep repeating the word, the statement, the Supreme Court says that no policies can be passed that are race-based, I'm scratching my head and saying, what in God's name did that person just say out their mouth, and why they keep repeating it? Because slavery was based on the color of the skin of another human being. It was based on that. Everything that followed after that was based on the race of another human being. And we all know this. Jim Crow laws, hangings, lynchings, and burnings, always based on a person's skin color. Why do y'all want to keep on sounding foolish by saying that out your mouth, when you know good and darn well that that's what it was based on? The very thing that you're trying to get some money for is the very thing that you keep on saying out your mouth that you can't no policies get passed based on race. Every type of harm that has been done to descendants and free persons who were here before 1900 was based on a skin color. And we all know this. We all know this. Camilla Moore and all these folks who got these law degrees and college degrees know this. It's documented. It's concretely documented. The ANDL just is reading a book about the Negro anti-Negro. Just go listen to the recordings for yourself. Everything that was from the time our ancestors got off of that ship, from the time any person came here, a free person, or became a slave, they were treated based on their skin color. We all know this. So why do you continue to sound like a fool, saying that Supreme Court say that nothing can get passed based on race. With everything that has happened has been based on race. It has been based on the color skin of descendants of slaves, and one who have that same skin color has been lumped into that harm. That's not no news flash. That's just the facts. That's the facts that have been documented in history. So please stop sounding foolish. We all know this. Every type of harm that has happened to descendants of slaves, any free person, or any melanated person that has come to America has been based on a skin color. And y'all really mean to tell me, you, with all the intelligence that you have, that you don't see how foolish that sounds when you keep repeating it? I'm confused. Why my little small brain who realizes clearly that I don't have a lot of the book smarts that most persons have, that I can figure that out. I can use plain old common sense to figure that out. But let me get back to the recording. It's just mad. Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there and bring this first part to a close. It's gonna probably end up being 3 parts based on the time of the total time of the original recording. So I want to thank each and every person. As I mention each and every time, stay alert and conscious of your surroundings and and the people in your surroundings. We are in some very, very dangerous times where there are certain persons who are walking around looking for an opportunity to murder someone, to harm someone. So it's very important that we take all the measures that we possibly can to put protection around ourselves and our family members and our community. And whenever possible, try to travel in a buddy system so that we can support one another and live to see another day, and hopefully be able to enjoy our day-to-day life without being harmed. Also, let me mention that be sure to visit the Negro American National Boycott website and take a look at it and see if there's any useful content on the website that can impact your day-to-day life in a positive way. Also, if you decide you would like to support the national boycott, the information on the goals and updates on regular boycott efforts will be posted on the website to keep all subscribers informed. The main goal is to reach 1 million or 2 million email addresses on that website to apply pressure to America to sign executive order for descendants of slaves so that reparations justice claim for the Negro ancestors. And if we are able to reach 1 million or 2 million email addresses as subscribers on that boycott website, then we will be ready to activate and apply pressure. But at this present time, we're mainly going to focus on gathering the numbers. Once the numbers start to reach a certain level, then we will start to strategize on what will be our main target whether it be a business or a service. We will determine that hopefully before June of 2024, we can reach our numbers at a higher level and be able to start activating to apply pressure on America to sign executive order for land grant or special field order 15 slash direct reparations payments, cash payments, direct reparation cash payments. Both of these demands need to be met before the election in November of 2024. So I will ask that each person, if you don't mind, please share the link so that we can get the numbers up to the highest level we possibly can before June of 2024. The sooner we can get the numbers up, the sooner we can start activating and targeting businesses or service providers. So thank you again for taking the time to listen, and keep safe and well while you are going about your day-to-day life. Take care.